Welcome back, and thank you for spending some time with me today. I've got an observation for you that I think will maybe explain a little bit more about why infidelity has happened, maybe in your situation, but certainly as a whole. And then I think it will help you understand what the goal of recovery work and repair work really is. It has been my observation that when a marriage or significant relationship becomes transactional, it is ripe for disaster. And talking to people for almost 2 decades about infidelity, it's apparent that a lot of relationships, certainly not all of them, but a lot of them became transactional, and that created the opportunity for someone to make some very terrible choices. What that means is we can treat our relationship, our significant other, like it's just this Amazon type deal where I do this and you do that, right? I'll pay you X, or I will do X and you do Y. It becomes very transactional. It's like we are just professional caregivers to kids. I do this, you do that. These are my responsibilities. These are your responsibilities. Here's your world. Here's mine. We merge during this time, that time, and that's it. Physical intimacy can become transactional. Well, I have to do it in order to keep them happy. And well, we do it on these nights. This is just the way it is. And then our emotional intimacy can become extremely transactional too. There's a spouse or significant other that goes, okay, sure, we can talk about this. And yeah, we have to talk about that. And we just kind of live in this transactional way where it just is kind of, I do this, you're supposed to do that, and then everybody's happy, allegedly. It's apparent that then that relationship becomes perpetually disconnected, where we're not spouses or significant others. We are business partners. You do this and I do that, and we make the best of it. And that, my friends, is no way to live. Now, that may have kind of teed up the opportunity for infidelity. Certainly not in every situation, but in some situations. And then what happens is, and this is what I want to really hone in on today, is we take that transactional approach into recovery work. And the goal of recovery work is not transaction, but transformation. And if you approach your repair work, either personally or relationally, in a transactional way, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be angry. You're going to feel incomplete, and you're going to hate probably every freaking minute of it, because you're approaching it from a mere transactional way. And the goal of true repair work, either for yourself or your relationship, is absolutely transformation. I'm going to identify some factors as to why we approach it this way. Why has it become this? Why is it bugging the literal hell out of you that the transactional approach that you're using isn't working? Number one is we want a quick and easy fix, especially us unfaithful. We kind of want to say a few sorries, we want to own it, we want to get it over with, and we want to move on down the road. And that's the transactional approach. We don't want to do the heavy lifting. We don't want to do the heavy work. We kind of want to check a few boxes or do this and this and move on down the road. Next, we are afraid of the raw pain that will come with being vulnerable and open and exposing ourselves. We may have been hurt before by doing that. We may have been abused or neglected or taken advantage of when we were young. And so the idea of us being vulnerable and opening up again and revealing parts of ourselves that are so fragile and so just completely scared to death scares the living hell out of us, and we think, no way, I'm not doing that again. So we revert to I'll just do this and this and this, but then we wonder why the relationship, or even our relationship with ourselves, is not thriving and is not exciting and is not joyful and is not authentic. It's because it's transactional, not transformational. Next is, and I'll be honest with you, all of these are lessons that I've learned, some of them more than others, but also we are scared to talk about some pretty dark moments. We're scared to talk about some things that just are so locked down inside of us that we just don't want to do it. We might be afraid to even face it. We might be afraid for what it's going to cause inside of us. We might be afraid to even address it. We may have even, and this gets a little deep, but we may have even forgot and pushed it down. We may have minimized it so much that we don't even think it's an issue. Or we may think, well, that was just the way it is. And it takes a professional, an expert to go, hold on, let's talk about that. Well, that was just the way it was. And that was just, this one time or what have you. And an expert goes, oh, hold on. You've just glossed over something that might be a key to your own healing and joy and emotional and mental well-being that could unlock you. I know that from my own experience. I have stuffed down so many things from my youth, childhood, and even moral failure almost 2 decades ago that I thought, and one of my therapists was like, oh, no. This is a safe place. Let's talk about this. Let me kind of help you do some work around this. And it completely has transformed my life. Next, we might be afraid that if we share some things that our partner is going to abandon us or shame us and think, oh my gosh, I wasn't prepared for that. And now we shut down again. Here's another thing that some of us might be terrified of sharing because we're afraid, and this one hurts. And if you're guilty of this, the best thing that you can do is own it and make a commitment to never do it again. And if this has happened to you, you may have to forgive your partner for doing this. Here it is. You may be afraid to share these things for fear that they're going to be used against you or thrown at you by your partner. And so we think, never doing that again. And I know that that is hard. It's hard for you that shared. It's maybe hard for you that actually wounded your partner. And there's a point where you have to repair that, because if you don't repair that, this person will never share those intimate things again. And this person will wonder why, because there's too much hurt and pain in between each other. The next one I actually hate, and that is we're just too busy. When you're just too busy, you're too busy, and repair work is transactional. And then when the transaction doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, get ready. Anger, rage, hostility, frustration, lashing out, and then all the other transactional moments that you had that didn't really transform you come to light with this rage and all types of threats and chaos and calamity, all because you are reaping the fruit of your labor, which was just going through the motions. Which leads me to the next one, which is we just can get too resentful. And so we don't want to even give the opportunity for transformative change because we have too much hurt and anger inside of us at our significant other or other people. And until we do that work to transform some stuff inside of us, we're going to continue to have frustration. But it doesn't mean that we can't do both. We can work on ourselves while also working on the relationship. There is this gross fallacy that says you can't work on the relationship until you work on yourself. Well, that's not entirely true. You can work on the relationship while you also work on yourself. And at the end of the day, you're in a relationship. And so there can be a simultaneous approach from the right expert that can help you do this. I promise you it's possible. You can find the right expert in personal therapy. You can also do that at our EMS weekend. It is absolutely possible to do that. As I leave you today, I want to tell you that the goal of any good recovery is transformation. Here's a little kind of checklist. How transformed are you from the work that you've been doing? Notice I didn't say, how transformed is your partner? No, how transformed are you? What amount of transformation has been going on in you and in your relationship? Or has it just been transactional? Because if it has, it's time for you, because only you can stop this. It's time for you to say, no more of that. I'm going to make changes. If I can help you, leave a comment on any platform that you're watching this on. If you're looking for help on how you can become more transformative in your own work or maybe your relationship, by all means, leave a comment. Myself or one of the staff will help you as soon as you can. I promise you, when your recovery work becomes transformational, your entire life will change and will become richer and will become more joyful, more just really authentic, more rewarding. I promise you, from my own experience, that has been the case, and I believe it to be true for every one of you as well.